yeah, there just a little bit.
Northern Georgia, the beginning of the approach trail. You know what, guys? I think the pain starts right now. The approach trail, it goes well. The steps, well, sure, what is there, 700 steps, 675 steps maybe? And of course they're a challenge with a pack on your back, but you know what? We've done a lot of training for this trail and other trails, and they weren't that bad. The actual approach trail after the steps, I did get water at the parking lot in the washrooms, and it's good water, fresh water that you don't have to filter. So I got another half a litre or so there, so I have enough to get to the summit of Springer, because apparently from that parking lot, the top of the steps, to Springer, there's no water. So I did get a little bit, just in case we're going to have lunch and coffee or whatever. I've seen 2, 3, 4, 5, a total of 5 through hikers starting today. 2 at the visitor center where I started, and 3 going to start at Springer Mountain. They went up in the shuttles. I got lost already. I went straight when I should have made a left turn. The trail, let's take a look. We're climbing right now, and yes, the approach trail lives up to its name, or its reputation of being a challenge. There's no doubt about it, but so far it hasn't been overly hard, although I've still got a long way to go to get to Springer. I still got 5.5 miles yet to Springer, so I've still got a lot of more work ahead of me, that's for sure. But just a little kind of midday check-in. So I guess it was around probably around 10:30ish, maybe 10, when I actually started this morning. So I'm not going to get as far today as I was hoping for. And that was just because of getting the shuttle and all this kind of stuff, getting registered. I am number 472, so there's 472 hikers ahead of me right now. Okay, I'm going to keep getting this climbing done. With about a mile to go to the summit of Springer Mountain, I am stopping for a Lara bar. This particular one is peanut butter and chocolate chip. 4 ingredients only. That's got to be good. I'm going to drink a little bit of electrolyte water. Definitely been a challenge today, no doubt about that. And I'd mentioned earlier it was a late start. It's got to be around, what time is it now? Somewhere around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I think from Springer Mountain, I'm going to keep going. There is a shelter at Springer, and I just passed a shelter here at Black Gap, a ways back. But I think I'm going to continue past there, heading towards, I think it's called Stover Creek. Stover Creek or Stover Gap shelter. I think that's where I'm going to camp tonight, or heading for that, depending on the time. I was hoping to get to the Black Hawk, but it's going to be too far. But that'll be okay for day 1. That should give me somewhere around 12 miles, which is okay. I'm happy with that. And it'll give me maybe 2.5 miles on the actual Appalachian Trail. So I'm okay with that too. Little afternoon update. Jasper here. I'm going to see you down the trail. After a grueling 6 hours, we've made it to the top of Springer Mountain. And here we are, the first blaze on the Appalachian Trail. Wow. And it feels great. It feels good to be finally here after all the preparation we did. All the wonder, all the planning, which all goes out of the window pretty quick. Anyhow, it's still great to be here. A couple of hikers over here. Say hi, guys. These are all through hikers, and one gentleman's from Michigan, and the other gentleman's from, is it Georgia or North Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Franklin, yeah.
Franklin, North Carolina.
Mile marker 110.
And here's the Appalachian National Scenic Trail plaque. Springer Mountain. Elevation 3,782 feet. The sun's shining. We've been in the fog all day, but now sun's shining. It's absolutely beautiful. Let's just go over to the side here. Let's just see if we're starting to get some views, because all day long we've seen nothing except thick fog. So let's take a little look and see. Well, we can see some blue sky right above us, hungry sky in the distance, but we're starting to get some views. Wow, that's nice. Hey, tonight a cold front comes through. So I think we're going to probably get some rain, but then I think tomorrow we're going to get some drying conditions. A little cooler, I'm sure, but you know what? Whatever we get weather-wise, it's going to be a great day anyhow.
Totally bald with an earring.
Hey, Jasper here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit further down the trail. The Benjamin Mackay Trail. Benjamin Mackay, by the way, was one of the founders of the Appalachian. Trail markers for the Benjamin Mackay, white diamonds. Our trail, the Appalachian, well, it continues with the white blaze. Now, you guys from home, well, you're familiar with the white blaze. The white blaze is what we use on our very, very own Bruce Trail. And there is a reason why we use the white blaze. And that is because, just in case you didn't know this, the Bruce Trail was fashioned and designed after the Appalachian Trail. Hence, certain things such as the emblem, shape, and so on, the white blazes for the markers, and so on. So yeah, and this being day number 1 on trail, well, even though it was the approach trail, I really just started the actual Appalachian Trail now, because the approach trail is not part of the Appalachian Trail. It's the approach trail to Springer Mountain. And you can choose to hike that or not. I chose to, some people don't, that's fine, either way. But from today's hiking, conditions and terrain, very, very similar to the Bruce, but significantly more challenging. That's how I would sum up today's hike. Okay, let's keep going. Chattahoochee National Forest. We are officially 1 mile into the Appalachian Trail. Oh, look at that map. Appalachian Trail right there at the bottom. All the way. Oh my good God. You know, I'm wondering to myself, whatever was I thinking? Oh well, let's keep moving forward now. So we just added about 4.5 pounds of weight to my pack, and I did that by filtering 2 liters of camp water. So I have water for camp for dinner, and I just topped off my electrolyte bottle, which is a 600 ml bottle. I already had, that was almost full, but this way I've got lots of water for camp. Just for a point of interest, if you've watched some of my other videos, especially some of my gear videos and so on, I talk about different pieces of equipment that I use, and I went through a period of time where I was quite strongly bad-mouthing the Katadyn Be-Free filter. But after that, and I've mentioned this before, by the way, recently, but I'll mention it again now. After that, I did learn more from a viewer who explained to me about minerals in the water in the Colorado mountains, the Rockies. And that's where I was having my major trouble with it. I could not keep it clean. What I didn't know was I needed to soak it in demineralized water that would take the minerals out of the filter and allow it to flow freely. Again, that's a mouthful. Flow freely. There you go. So I've learned that now. With that being said, I'm starting off at the very least the Appalachian Trail with a new Katadyn Be-Free. So I did pick one up at Canadian Tire in Ontario, in Wasaga Beach, where I live. A Katadyn Be-Free. I'm also carrying a single 1 liter gray water bag, and that's what I put my water in to filter from into my 2 1 liter smart bottles, and then my 600 ml electrolyte smart bottle. So yeah, tells you a little bit about the water filtration and what we're doing right now, and also my capacity to carry, although I don't think overly on the Appalachian Trail I need a huge capacity at any time. There's a couple of areas, and a couple of areas here in Georgia where apparently there's sections of maybe 7 or 8 miles where you go without water, but as long as you have camp water, you're okay. Anyhow, just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Just a little bit of a tech tip, I guess, or a little bit of information on gear. Of course, at the end of this particular hike and during the hike, we'll give updates on the gear, but at the end, I'll do a video on, you know, obviously what works and what has not worked and so on. Okay, I think I'm about half a mile to my camp, and that's one of the reasons I elected to filter water now. I know there is water at the camp. There's a shelter at the camp. It's a Stover Creek shelter. I'm going to check the weather when I get there and see the situation. I'm not particularly a shelter person. I really do like to be cozied up in my sanctuary. And for me, of course, as you all know, my sanctuary is a big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. But it's going to be, say, a heavy night of rain, then, you know, shelter might be okay. I know that we have a cold front coming through, so I know tomorrow's going to be colder and the next days after that, but apparently they're going to be dry. Right now the sun's out, and for the last 2 or 3 hours the sun's been out, and it's been much nicer, but most of this day today was in the thick fog, so we didn't see much for views at all. We just started clearing as we were approaching Springer Mountain. Okay, let's keep heading to the Stover Creek shelter. Again, about half a mile down the trail from here, I think. And that was one of the reasons I filtered water now. I know there's water there, but it's 0.1 of a mile off trail in the opposite direction to the shelter, I believe. So I just figured, you know what? There was a beautiful water source back there, a nice creek flowing nicely. I'll grab it. Okay, let's go. So yeah, the day is starting to wind down insofar as we are at camp. The Stover Creek shelter. Wow. Campers or tenters behind, through hikers. My spot's over here behind the bear cables. So they have bear cables here. And I noticed they also have a bear box right here. More tents set up for the night. Hey, looks like a great place. And you know what? For our first day on the trail today, I think we've done okay. I'm not sure what the distance is. It's got to be about 12 miles, I'm going to guess. But I'll know when I do my log, and we'll mention that later. But yeah, So I'm going to set up camp. I'm going to make myself some food, have some coffee. And you know what? I think everything is going, so far, pretty damn good. Okay, we're going to talk to you guys in just a little bit. Well, good morning, everybody. As you can hear, or maybe hear, we have rain this morning. It's a little after 6 right now. I've had my coffee, I've had my breakfast. Everything inside my tent is packed up and ready to go. I just have to break down the tent. Just kind of waiting for a little break, a little reprieve maybe in the rain. I never like putting a tent away wet, but you know what? So often you just don't have a choice. And today is one of those days. So hopefully later in the day we get some sunshine, a gentle breeze, whatever, and we can dry the tent out. But it was nice and cozy warm last night. Last night it went down to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that is in Celsius. So that was the temperature. So it was very mild. In fact, it was a little too warm last night. But I did put my leggings on because I thought, you know what, it's going to be a cold night. But it wasn't at all. This rain we're feeling or getting right now, experiencing right now, is the part or the beginning, I believe, of a cold front that's going to come through, and that is going to drop the temperatures. That's okay too. Today, so yesterday was 11.1 miles for the day. That's okay for our first day. The approach trail, and then I think 2.8 or was it 2.1 miles or something like that to the Stover Creek shelter. Today's plan is a little more. It's 14.1 miles to Gooch Gap, and there's a tenting area there, and that's going to be our aim for the day. And then that would leave us another little over 14 miles the next day to arrive at Neal's Gap. And there hopefully we could pick up a few resupplies, charge some electricity battery banks, and I believe they do allow camping very close to there or behind the building. So that's probably the next couple of days' plans anyhow, taking us, hopefully, today's what, Friday, so Saturday. I guess tomorrow night I think would be maybe Neal's Gap if everything went well. But on this particular trail at the beginning, that's a little kind of ambitious. I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to my world. And you know what? Again, thank you for following. Please subscribe, like, share, comment on my videos, and I will do everything in my power to get back to you. Yeah, let's just hurry up and wait for the rain. Well, day 2 very much starts off in the rain. I did get to try my umbrella for the first time. Again, I'm using the Six Moons design. Silver Shadow comes in at 6.9 ounces. I've got to do a little bit of work on the attachment system so I can have umbrella up and hands-free, which allows me to have both hands for my trekking poles, because right now it's leaning just too far forward. But today was actually the first time I'd ever used an umbrella on trail, and again, because of the water, the rain, the weather on the Appalachian, I figured that was probably a smart thing to do. Anyhow, yes, wearing my waterproof, my sealskin socks this morning. That's fine, because otherwise right now my feet would be totally soaked. A lot of mud, slippy, go with care. But you know what? So far, day 2 is just fine. Again, I'm aiming for 14.1 miles today to the, I think it's the Gooch Gap tenting area. So that is kind of the day plan, although depending on terrain, weather, who knows. For my rain top, today I'm wearing my Frog Togs Pro Light. You remember before I've used the Ultralight. The Pro Light is slightly, a little bit more durable. Comes in at an ounce or two heavier, but it's slightly more durable. and so far it's working out very well. And for my legs today, my leggings, I'm wearing my Z-Packs Virtus rain pants, courtesy of my daughters. I also have the Z-Packs Virtus jacket, well, that's in the pack. I just don't need it right now. So yeah, we are doing fine. Let's take a look at the trail right now because it's really interesting. Here you go. Take a look. Of course, it's wet and muddy, but we are certainly in that green tunnel that the Appalachian Trail is very famous for. Last night's camp at the Stover Creek shelter was just fine. I didn't stay in the shelter, although there was space. And I actually thought about it because I thought it might rain. We have a cold front coming through, but I'm not sure when. Sometime today. Still quite mild out this morning. But the shelter was fine. Privy picnic tables, a bear box for the food, also bear hanging cables for food. So that's always a good thing to see. And of course, it was a wet camp, so there was a beautiful spring nearby, a creek, hence I guess the name Stover Creek. Quite muddy though, for sure. There's been lots of rain before I ever started this trail, and it just continues. Although I think after maybe today and tomorrow, or maybe starting tomorrow, once this cold front comes through, I believe it dries up. We get some sunshine, colder temperatures, but some sunshine and drier conditions, and in all truthfulness, that would be great. Okay. Whew. A little water crossing down here. Okay, let's just lay down some miles because we've got a long way to go today. So right now, an interesting little fact, we are actually sharing the trail right now, the Appalachian and the Benton Mackay. Right on this tree, you'll see both emblems. You'll remember from yesterday, the white diamond of the Benton Mackay, and of course, the traditional white blaze, vertical, 2 inches by 6 inch of the Appalachian. So yeah, just a little point of interest. So we do have some kind of distance. I'm not sure how far. I don't think it's far. But sharing the Benton Mackay. So at least that's another trail we've actually been on. Yeah. Still raining, but it's gentle rain. So I'm not using the umbrella, but I still very much have my rain gear on. Okay. Just a little morning check-in. Let's keep laying down those miles. Hickory Flats School, 1850 to 1915, in memory of Dallas M. Woody. He taught here 1903, donated by family. Wow. So I guess this was the site of the school, maybe. I don't know exactly. But anyhow, point of interest. Another point of interest. There's an arrow here pointing to the left, and it says shed and cemetery. Well, I don't think we need either one of those just yet. The rain's picked up again. Well, there's a slight reprieve right now, but for the last hour it had been raining pretty steady. I didn't use the umbrella for that particular rain just because I was comfortable just hiking in my rain pants and my Frog Togs jacket with my cap on. Okay. So far so good. It's around 9:30 in the morning. Yeah. I just checked the Far Out or Gut Ox app, and it looks like I'm at about 10 miles to, man, there's a lot of kind of trails here. This way. Got to keep our wits about us. So anyhow, it looks like I'm about 10 miles or so to the Gooch Gap shelter. So we'll see what happens when we get there. See if we need to dry out, and that would be just fine for the night. That would be around, I know I said 14.1 miles, but I was looking at older information on a chart that I have back from 2012. There was a tenting area there apparently, maybe before the shelter. Anyhow, so having said that, it's going to give me somewhere around 13 miles for the day if I stop at the Gooch Gap shelter. But we'll see what comes after that. And we'll see how we feel once we get there. Okay, let's just make sure we're on the right trail here, because there was all kind of trails behind me. Okay, so the sunshine has just started to peek out through the clouds. Temperatures dropped quite a bit. We definitely have passage of a cold front, hence the rain we had. But you know what? Once again, just like yesterday, that sun comes out and one's spirits just kind of soar skywards. I mean, met a few people on trail this morning. An English gentleman by the name of Paul, a group of 3 ladies behind me, and then in the middle there was a younger young lady, a solo hiker. So there's a few people out there today. Quite a few people still in camp, I noticed. Again, just waiting out the rain. As for us, well, here we are. We're about 6 miles now to the Gooch Gap shelter, and it's 11:30 a.m. So we're doing fine. We will be stopping for lunch very shortly. Coffee, I think some mashed potato, and maybe some of the bacon that I have. I think that would be a nice lunch today. Yesterday we didn't really have a lunch. We just kind of survived on bars for the day, and you do that a lot out here, but I really do like my warm food. I did have to backtrack a little bit at the I think it's a Black Mountain shelter, Black Hawk shelter. I thought there was water after that, but there wasn't. So I had to backtrack to there, about half a mile each way, so a mile, just to make sure I had water for lunch. There is water at Gooch Gap, I know that, but I've also passed 1 or 2 water sources too, just because of the rain. So far, we're doing just fine. We've had a couple of big climbs this morning, but we've got a big one ahead of us yet. So that's okay. It is the Appalachian Trail, and we do expect to have to climb a little bit here and there. Starting to get some views. Now, the weather's clearing. Oh yeah, that's pretty through the trees. Certainly is. The forest and the trail behind me. Okay, let's keep going, guys. Well, guys, just a little afternoon check-in. I'm not sure what time it is right now, but I don't know, 1 o'clock, 1:30, somewhere in there. I'm probably 3.5 miles to Gooch Gap shelter. The day progresses well. The rain from this morning, the cold wind, gave way to beautiful, beautiful sunshine, a gentle breeze, and I am just in shorts, a t-shirt, and just my Arc'teryx lightweight hoodie, which I really don't need right now, but I just can't be bothered to stop and take it off. So yeah, temperature wise, you know what, I bet it's about 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. I bet it's around somewhere around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, give or take a little bit. So it's a beautiful afternoon, just gorgeous. The trail is drying up nicely. Oh, there's still lots of mud out here, but just look at the trail ahead of me. It's drying up. ever so nicely. Yeah, all is well. We had a good lunch. We had mashed potatoes with bacon and coffee. That was just excellent. And I was ready for that. I was really, really ready for that. Okay. Again, just my little afternoon check-in. All goes well. I haven't seen much in the way of wildlife. In fact, I've seen nothing except, well, what have I seen? I have seen absolutely zero. I haven't even seen, oh, I think I did see a bird yesterday. That was it. Nothing. Nothing flying, nothing running around on the ground, no chipmunks, no squirrels, no nothing. But at one of the shelters, I have Hawks Mountain Shelter, a gentleman who stayed there said his food bag, he stayed in the shelter, his food bag was ravished by mice. Just had a big kind of buffet with his food bag. Oh well, we know that these things happen in the shelters, that's for sure. Okay, let's just keep laying down those miles. The end of day 2, and wow, did the temperature drop? Yes, it did. When the cold front came through after the rain this morning, and then in the afternoon, the sun was out and it was nice. But as soon as the sun started to go down, the cold air took over. Right now, I just checked my temperature gauge, and it's pretty much right at 0 degrees Celsius, right at the freezing point. So that means tonight, my water filter and my battery packs are all going to go into the foot box of my sleeping bag, just to keep those a little bit warmer than they would normally be, or would be like just in my tent, just to try to look after those items. Today, 14.2 miles. So we are at Gooch Gap, not this Gooch Gap shelter. We went past that to the actual Gooch Gap and the parking area, and there's also tenting here. Right now, I'm the only person here, and yet back at the shelter is full, and the tenting area is all full. When I came through there, the park ranger said if I wanted to continue, I could have camped there, because when I came through there was space for me. But he said 40 people were coming, and if I could stay there if I wanted. If not, I could carry on another 1.2 miles down the trail to the actual Gooch Gap and the tenting area right here, which is what I elected to do. It gets me that 1.2 miles closer to Neal's Gap, for hopefully arrive there tomorrow. It's a little over 14 miles to Neal's Gap from here. So yeah, a little bit of an update. Oh, challenging trail the first 2 days, no doubt about that. And something I've always said is, it takes me 2 or 3 days or 4 days or whatever just to kind of settle into a trail, and start to feel comfortable. And I feel comfortable here on this particular trail. I think I'm feeling a little anxious about the trail, and I think I need, because this is such a long trail, I need just to settle down a little bit and just kind of go with the flow and take each day as it comes. Each day gets me that much closer to Mount Katahdin in Maine. So yeah, a little bit of a kind of thought there to ponder, I suppose. But it's about 6:30 right now. I'm in my tent, gotta brush my teeth and so on. I won't be long out of my bunk tonight. I'm tired, but as I say, it's so cold that, you know, I'm not gonna be sat outside. Beautiful grassy area here with water, so it's a wet camp. Anyhow, that's it for today. Day 2 comes to an end. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, do subscribe. Hey, we'll see you for day 3 tomorrow. Good night.